All right, welcome back. Today, we're jumping right into a really gripping analysis of a geopolitical flashpoint. Now, according to our source, this crisis didn't just mess with global oil supplies, it actually exposed a huge crack in the Western alliance. Maybe even a major shift in global power. Okay, let's get into it. So, the analysis we're breaking down today kicks off with this just bombshell claim. It's arguing that during a major crisis in the Strait of Hormuz, an urgent call to the Financial Times showed a U.S. president who wasn't in charge, but was actually desperate. And that's the whole idea here. The superpower was, starting to buckle under the pressure. So let's paint the picture here. The main argument is that the United States, the country that for decades was seen as the world's problem solver, the one you call when things go wrong, suddenly couldn't handle a crisis by itself. And this wasn't just some minor issue. According to the source, this was a real test of American power, and it was failing. And get this detail from the source. 8 minutes. That's it. This wasn't some long, thought-out strategic call. It was short, it was urgent, and it was almost panicked. And in this analysis, that short phone call sends a massive signal. The era of America being the world's solo police officer, it might just be over. Which brings us to what was in that phone call. Instead of the U.S. announcing, hey, we're going in, the source claims the president was literally asking for help. I mean, that is a huge shift, right? It's going from leading the charge to basically trying to get a posse together and discovering that's a lot harder to do than you think. And just look at who was supposedly on this list. It's a who's who of global players, but the one that really jumps out, according to this analysis, is China. I mean, think about that. Asking your main geopolitical rival for military help in a shipping lane this important, that is, well, it's pretty extraordinary. It just shows you how serious the situation was believed to be. And this slide right here is why it all matters so much. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a body of water. It's pretty much the artery for the entire global economy. A fifth of the world's oil flows through this one tiny choke point. So when it gets blocked, everybody, and I mean everybody, feels those shockwaves. And the ask for help wasn't some vague, hey, can you lend a hand? No, the source claims there were two very specific, very serious demands. First, ships, specifically minesweepers, which Trump reportedly pointed out Europe has way more of. But then it got way more intense. The second request was for European commandos, special forces, to hit the Iranian coast. We're not just talking about escorting ships anymore. This was a request to jump into a hot conflict. And this reported quote, wow, it really just captures the whole vibe. Whatever it takes, just 3 words, but according to the source, they say everything about the panic. It doesn't sound like a negotiation. It sounds like a cry for help. A blank check, just asking for anything and everything to fix a problem the U.S. realized it couldn't fix on its own. Okay, so the U.S. sends out this SOS. But what happened next? This is where the story, according to the analysis, takes a really dark turn for the Western alliance. That desperate call for help wasn't met with a, we're on our way. It was met with, well, what felt like silence, hesitation, and a whole lot of foot dragging. The band was not on the same page. And this just lays out the massive disconnect perfectly. You see, on one side, the U.S. is demanding an immediate, all-in military response. But on the other side, the response is described as cautious, reluctant, and from the American point of view, just nowhere near enough. The alliance just wasn't acting like an alliance. This little anecdote from the source really nails the point. The UK, supposedly America's closest ally, offered 2 ships, but only after the U.S. had already taken care of the main threat. You can just feel the frustration in Trump's reported response. It's like he felt his allies were waiting to see who was going to win before they decided to show up. And crucially, this frustration didn't just stay behind closed doors. The source claims it actually boiled over into a direct threat against NATO, the cornerstone of Western security for, over 70 years? The message was pretty blunt. If you're not here for us now, then what's the point of this whole thing? Now, while all this drama was happening between the U.S. and its allies, Iran wasn't just sitting around. The analysis argues their strategy was actually really smart. They didn't just issue some vague threats. No, they started a very targeted campaign to make European countries feel the pain directly if they decided to get involved. And this timeline lays it all out. First, a drone strike on a base with Italian and French troops. Then you see threats aimed at British bases. And then the big one, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps goes on the record saying, "Yep, we shot down a major Italian drone." Each move was like a direct message sent to a different European capital saying, helping America, it's going to cost you, personally. And of course, all this chaos had a real-world impact that everyone could feel. The price of oil. According to the source, it just exploded, up 45% to $106 a barrel. It's a perfect example of how a regional fight, mixed with allies not being on the same page, can hit everybody's wallet, and fast. So let's pull back for the big takeaway. The source argues that what we've just been talking about, it isn't just a story about a crisis in the Gulf. No, it's a snapshot of a world that's changing, a single moment that could signal a total redrawing of the global power map. This table really nails the before and after picture that the source is painting. On the left, that's the world we've known for a long time. America is the only superpower, it can act alone, and its alliances are rock solid. But on the right, that's the new reality this crisis supposedly revealed, an America that has to ask for help with allies that are breaking apart. And if you had to boil this entire analysis down to just one single sentence, this would be it. It's a total role reversal. For decades, the world has looked to America when there's trouble. But in this crisis, the source argues, it was America looking to the world for help and finding that nobody was in a hurry to pick up the phone. Which leaves us with this final, really provocative question that the analysis puts forward. Was this crisis just a one-off event? Or was it the moment we all saw the high watermark of American power finally start to pull back? That's a question with some absolutely massive implications for all of us.